2 Corinthians 2 verse 14 to 16 tells us that no one knows the mind of Jehovah. It also tells us about the fact that some people, they are physical people, so they look at physical things, not spiritual things. And then it tells us that no one can instruct or know Jehovah's mind, but we do have the mind of the Christ. Matthew 23 verse 23 says, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you give the tenth of the mint and the dill and the cumin, but you have disregarded the weightier matters of the law, namely justice and mercy and faithfulness. These things it was necessary to do, yet not to disregard the other things. Blind guides who strain out the gnat and gulp down the camel. Woe to you, Pharisees and scribes, hypocrites, because you cleanse the outside of the cup and of the dish, but inside they are full of greediness and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisee, cleanse first the inside of the cup and of the dish, so that the outside of it may also become clean." Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you resemble whitewashed graves, which outwardly indeed appear beautiful, but inside are full of dead men's bones and of every sort of uncleanness. In the same way, on the outside you appear righteous to men, but inside you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you build the graves of the prophets and decorate the tombs of the righteous ones. And you say, "If we had lived in the days of our forefathers, we would not have shared with them in the shedding of the blood of the prophets. Therefore, you are testifying against yourselves that you are the sons of those who murdered the prophets. Well then, fill up the measure of your forefathers. Serpents and offspring of vipers, how will you flee from the judgment of Gehenna? For this reason I am sending to you prophets and wise men and public instructors. Some of them you will kill and execute on stakes, and some of them you will scourge in your synagogues and persecute from city to city, so that there may come upon you all the righteous blood spilled on earth, from the blood of righteous Abel to the blood of Zachariah, son of Barachiah, whom you murdered between the sanctuary and the altar. Truly I say to you, all these things will come upon this generation." So how do we parallel this today? Well, 23, it says, "You disregard the weightier matters of the law." People will disregard being a nice person. They will disregard kindness. They will disregard justice. They disregard everything important, and they avoid people like me who will say, "Well, this person is struggling because they were treated poorly. Oh, pursue peace." But peace for them is silence, because they disregard weightier matters. So once you don't talk they're good, they don't care if you're suicidal. They don't care what you're going through, because what matters is to disregard the weightier matters. But what and they always happen to be the guide. It's always the guide who is blind, right? So if you follow a blind guide, what's going to happen to you? If you as an individual don't learn to know God for yourself, and you follow these so-called guides that are disregarding the weightier matters, they will be concerned with how you look on the outside, but they will not concern themselves with who they themselves are inside, because they wash the outside of the dish, but the inside is full of greediness and self-indulgence. Now, it is necessary to have a level of formality, but you cannot disregard the weightier matters. And you know what? Just like with fitness, the work that you put in on the inside starts to manifest on the outside anyway. So eventually everyone can see that the guide is blind. The problem is that because they have put themselves up on a pedestal as a guide, they have a following who doesn't want to let them go. The last point I want to make is in 29 when it says, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, because you build the graves of the prophets and decorate the tombs of the righteous ones." These people will kill you for being good and then speak highly of you once you're gone. These people will decorate your grave with gladness if you come with a message of truth. These are the people who will tell you everyone is equal and then treat you like you're below them. And if you say to them, "I am not below you," they'll say, "Of course you aren't," and continue to treat you that way. You have to study the Word of God for yourself. We have the mind of Christ. To know right from wrong, we have the mind of Christ. How will they flee from the judgment of Gehenna when they have executed all the prophets? Anytime somebody comes and tells me anything and there is no scriptural backing for it, I'll give you an example. Race was created in the 1700s. We are told that everybody was the children of Noah, which means Noah, similar to Adam, had all of the races in his bloodstream. Would this have ended 300 years later when Abraham would have come into the picture? Or did Abraham not have many children and have different races coming through him? Because race is a social construct. There's no such thing as race. There's just different people and different ways how genes can go. But a person will be offended if you draw certain people black. And by black, I just mean darker, because as I just said, race doesn't exist. So they're only comfortable with certain colors on the spectrum. Yet that person will tell you that you're racist when you've been accepting their version of things all along, and their version of things was only comfortable with certain colors on the spectrum. You see, there's a lot of blind guidance out there. The Bible never mentions color, only tribe. And the reason why is because in the similar way how it's so funny to us when you see a white man who's a Jamaican speaking a Jamaican accent, but he's Jamaican, that's his tribe. And yeah, you could say, well, he had come from this and he come from that. Yeah, you all came from Noah. It's your tribe and your culture and your beliefs that matter, not how you look. This is just an example, one, of the blind guidance that a lot of people follow. We have to be careful about the things we put in our head and believe, because if it is of the world, then it is not real. And if it is worldwide and is the mainstream idea, usually it's a lie. Have a great day.